Good day, everybody. This is your Sunday Rider Steve here. We've decided to tie Ryan up and put him back in the closet because we are anarchy tonight. No, I'm just kidding. Ryan was actually sick, so I'm filling in as admin for this podcast. But we do have in the lineup tonight our Monday Rider, Sean. Sean, how you doing?
Doing great. Why is Beepo here?
Because he's a friend of the show, and we always are welcoming here. How are you doing, Beepo?
Pretty good. A little bit offended now that I'm not welcome here, but you know, it is what it is. I'm used to that.
All right, sounds good. Also, we have Ben, our Tuesday writer.
How's it going, Steve?
It's going good. Watching the NCAA just like you. And also, we have our Maniac Friday writer, TC. How's it going?
It's going pretty well down here in Georgia. It's dropped 30 degrees from last week. I don't know what that is in centigrade because I love freedom.
We all speak Fahrenheit here, TC. It's okay. I'm one of those anarchist Canadians who thinks that Fahrenheit makes sense.
Because it does.
It does. Do you have peanuts in your Coke, TC?
I do not. Why?
You're not a good Georgia boy if you don't put them in, to tell you what.
But they gotta be the burl peanuts.
Okay, let's dive right into this. How about that? So, recently revealed was the 2018 draft logo. Obviously, it's based in Dallas. Me just looking at it, I think it's nice. I like it. It plays into the Dallas Stars logo, and it also keeps a semi-templated look. Ben, what are your thoughts?
I agree with you all the way. I really like how they started with the logo as a base and then just put the draft over it. And I really like how they use that beveled font to match the Dallas Stars look. So overall, really good.
Yeah, that bevel is nice. Sean, what are your thoughts on it?
I like that it's distinct from their current shoulder patch in that it's very similar, but they've done enough with the outlining and the beveling that Ben had mentioned that I don't think it's just slap the draft font that we've seen for the past 8 drafts now, soon to be 9, on the front of that logo. It's different enough. It does a good job embracing their current look, and I'm glad that Dallas hosts it now as opposed to 5 seasons ago.
All right. And Beepo, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, aside from echoing a lot of the other comments, I know one thing that I mentioned to you earlier on the Slack chat is that I really like the sort of templated look that they've been going for. Is that it's a little bit templated, and it really keeps the look consistent for each event. I kind of wish they did a similar thing for the Cup Final and other events like that. Yet, they leave enough flexibility to be able to personalize it for each host city and so on. So I think this logo does a good job of that.
I definitely have to agree with you. I feel like they do just good enough of a job where they only leave about part of it templated, but then it's free reign, and they all look together, but at the same time they're unique. TC, finally, what are your thoughts?
I'm about to echo Beepo. I definitely like the sort of, I believe Ryan called it semi-template in our chat earlier. I like that it has the distinct logo that is the draft identity, and that's something that can carry throughout the years so that you know what the event is just by looking at the logo, even if you're illiterate and can't read that it says draft. And then they give the teams enough wiggle room to where it can become something that shows more of the local flavor. And this one in particular, I lived in Dallas for 3.5 years. Texans love Texas. So using the state outline from their shoulder patch is a good look for them.
All right, sounds good. And I just want to add, what, that victory green and black, it looks stunning with that silver. So I think overall they did a great job. And I think the draft logo is one of the few logos that they actually hit on the mark these past few years. So, all right, moving on to our second segment here, folks. We have trade deadlines. So, as you guys all know, we had a bunch of moves. Apparently, New York likes to trade all their captains away to Tampa Bay. So
it's Rangers South.
Sorry, Rangers sell.
They have
So,
they have 6 former Rangers on their roster right now.
Okay, well then let's start with you, TC. How did you think? Who were the winners of the draft, and who do you think were the losers? You start off with, say, 2 winners.
2 winners. I'm gonna have to go with Tampa Bay. They got some solid players. A little biased because their former captain, R.I.P., and Miller. Yeah. But they definitely got the better end of that trade. Like, we definitely got a way better return in the Nash trade with Boston. I think that was actually a pretty decent deal, and I think the Rangers, in the long run, will be happy about it. And I'm going to say the other winner would actually be the Rangers, because while they did have to ship a lot of guys off, if you look at, like, I was watching the Canucks game, and I touched on this in my post earlier. The new guys have made an immediate impact. Let's see, Spooner had 3 assists the other night, and Nemesnikov had a goal and an assist. So they've made an immediate impact so far. As for losers, I don't really know of any teams that really bottomed out. I know a lot of people would probably say the Rangers, but compared to previous years, this just wasn't as much of a flurry of action as it has been. And I think that's a trend we've been seeing lately, is it's slowly been going down in the number of transactions close to the deadline.
Yeah, I forgot who it was that pushed it up. I believe it was NHL themselves, but there was a trend of, just less fire sales going at the trade deadline, or less serious trades, and more focusing on making strategic moves. So, Beepo, what?
Speaking of, Spooner just scored a goal.
Well, thank you for that real-time update. We are pre-recording this, by the way. Beepo, who do you think won? Who do you think lost?
Well, I'm going to echo TC on the losers side, that there's not really a single team that really stuck out as made a awful deal or multiple bad deals. I mean, some of the deals obviously were in one team's favor, but none of them really stuck out as, like, I'm trying to think of a really bad one. Like, one of the ones that Garth Snow made years ago, like giving, who am I thinking of? I don't know. Tuukka Rask to Boston, that's the one that I was thinking of. I don't remember the entire details of that trade, but nothing too awful like that. The winners are probably, I would agree with TC, Tampa and New York. New York gave away, of course, a few of their cornerstones, but are definitely ready to rebuild for the future, even just a quick rebuild. Tampa got some more solid pieces to add to their already great team. And another thing, just to add something more, Penguins. They gave up for a great a second-line center to play on their third line. They gave up a player that was going to walk at the end of the year because they couldn't re-sign him. A goalie prospect that was likely never going to make the team, and a few picks and prospects. So that basically bolsters the Penguins to make yet another cup run, even though just about everybody thinks that it's probably not going to happen. It's a lot more likely now.
Wow, the way the goalie situation is looking, all the short-sighted people. Ben, who do you think? Were there any real serious losers, and who do you think won the most?
Yeah, I'm going to agree and disagree on the winners. I definitely think Tampa Bay was a winner, and for the same reason, I think the Vegas Knights, or Golden Knights, whatever they're called, I think they're up there too. And I'm going to say for the same reason, both teams are just single-focused in their pursuit of the Cup this season. I think a lot of people are going to criticize Vegas for trading away a first-round pick for Tatar, but if you think of all the picks that they got out of last year's expansion draft, it's really a good move. Just to make sure that they both building for the future and going after the Cup now while they're in the top 2. Losers, I think Detroit did not do what they needed to. They were top 3 in spending, and so they really needed to get the cap down. They did trade away Tatar, who's only 27. I'm not really sure that's the kind of guy you want to be dealing away at the deadline. And the only other real trade they made was Mrazek, and they only got a bag of pucks for him. Lots of the aging defensemen they kept around. Trevor Daley stands out. Not even sure how Eriksson's still in the NHL. And, there's one team, I'm not sure if they're a winner or a loser out of this, and it's Ottawa for keeping Karlsson. This team's only 1 year removed from going to the Eastern Conference Finals, but they just haven't decided if they're going to go for a rebuild or if they think they're just a few pieces away from getting back there. I guess time will tell. Let's see how this one turned out, but Karlsson's only going to get older. His stock is only going to go down after this, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Here's an interesting question. Is Karlsson more or less likely to leave or be traded after they tank and get the first overall pick and select Dahlin?
Well, they won't. Vegas is going to get the first round pick because Batman.
Didn't they trade away their first overall pick for next year?
That they did.
Batman.
We will get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that, guys. We'll get to that. All right, Sean, what are your thoughts?
Well, a lot's been said about the winners. I'm going to call the Jets a winner. They are not one of the winners, but they won that trade because right away Ehlers and Stastny are getting along as they should. And I think that that's a big thing, is that trades at the trade deadline can go very poorly when you don't have chemistry, and there is already chemistry 2 games in. I will defend the Red Wings, not that they should have. The losers are the teams that should have done more. But I think Vegas is a loser for giving up that first round pick. As an expansion team, you need prospects, and Vegas, despite being not your typical expansion team, needs to keep their picks. I am shocked you would consider trading that pick for a team that will likely, in my opinion, lose in the first 2 rounds.
So that comes up to what was my second question. So I guess I'll have just Beepo and TC answer this one. For the Golden Knights to decide, instead of playing it safe and go for the long run, they're trying to win now. Do you think that's going to pay off for them for the big run, for the long term, or do you think it's just going to hurt them for the next few years? Beepo, start off.
As of now, without actually seeing the future, I think it's more likely to hurt them. This is more than likely a team that's just having a little bit of luck and having a great year. And while I'm not, at this point, considering this year, I wouldn't be too surprised if they ended up doing decent next year. I would highly doubt that unless they make some moves or get some better players. And I'm not saying that players are bad, but get some, I guess, more franchise cornerstones in a sense. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do as good. So keeping their first overall pick would have definitely been a great move. But if they go on to win the Cup this year somehow, or in the next couple years, then I don't think it would have been a mistake. Also, isn't that pick draft protected too? Or lottery protected, I mean? Just another
I believe it is.
So that's probably yet another reason that it might not have been a good idea to trade it away.
All right, TC, what are your thoughts?
Stupid. Honestly, yeah, I'm in the same boat as Jets here. I think that for a brand new franchise, it's incredibly short-sighted. You need that pick to build for the future. I know you're riding this wave of, we're doing so well. I think most of that is the excitement of playing on a new team, and a lot of these guys were playing kind of with a chip on their shoulder because their teams that they had put in a lot of time for didn't protect them. And I think that kind of gave them a bit of an attitude, and I think it served them well so far. I think that they'll make a playoff push, but they're not going to make it to the Cup final. They're not going to win. And I think that trading away a chance at the future for something that's out of the decent realm of possibility is just a waste of that opportunity and just a dumb move.
You don't think the team in contention for the President's Cup is also a contender for the Stanley Cup?
We'll ask the captain.
Yeah, talk to Washington.
Well, see, Vegas is not Washington, okay?
They are, though. They play in the easiest division in hockey.
This is what I have to say. They're a new team. they're trying to build a fan base and a solid fan base.
They have a fan base.
They don't want to pull
They
an
have
Atlanta
it.
Thrashers, where
You shut your mouth.
Hey, we do not insult the Thrashers on this podcast. Respect the dead.
I respect them, but I'm just saying, they want to win now so they don't end up like the Atlanta Thrashers and then move to a safe haven like Winnipeg or Quebec. Now, do I think it's a good idea that they're doing this? Absolutely not. They should be saving up and building for future years. But they want to win now because they want to make the money and they want to build the fan base to stay.
This is a team in first and second place. I mean, I don't know. How much better do you expect it to get in the future?
Winning a playoff series.
Yes,
And I just don't see that happening. And I don't see Thomas Tatar being worth the first-round pick. And I think Detroit fleeced them on that deal. And if I'm Detroit, I'm going to be calling Vegas a lot more to make deals.
Especially a draft-protected pick. Or why do I keep saying draft-protected? Lottery-protected.
That is the only thing Vegas could have done worse at the trade deadline was trade for Karlsson.
Okay, I see everyone has a lot of reunified feelings. Well, you guys can vent those at another time. We're going to move on to our third segment.
This is the Anarchy Podcast, Steve. You can't tell us what to do.
We have to have some order. But, all right.
I think you're unclear on the definition of the term anarchy.
I know what anarchy is.
Are we going to mutiny on the Anarchy Podcast?
You guys. Okay, come on. Third segment time, people.
Anarchy, a state of disorder due to absence or non-recognition.
Info,
of
I will
authority.
hang you up. I swear
Yes.
to God. I swear.
The dictionary defines anarchy.
As.
And we have just gone so far off. Okay.
Anarchy.
All right, get out your systems now. Right now.
The
Get out your
lunatics are
systems.
running the asylum.
Okay, y'all ready?
Are you prone to having blackouts?
Yes.
Are you prone to having blackouts?
Okay. All
Head
right,
on,
third,
apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead.
third segment time, guys. Okay, we got the Stadium Series coming up. It's time to talk jerseys. Out of all the Stadium Series jerseys that have happened, in my opinion, these aren't the best. But at the same time, they're not completely the worst. Jets, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, 2015 was a dud in terms of the entire kits. LA's jersey itself is fine, but with white pants, it's terrible. And San Jose's is just very mediocre. I think this is the first year where there is no defined template. Even last year, it was still a single stripe on the arm. Whether Pittsburgh chose to fill the arm in or not was up to them. This is the first non-templated year, and I think for that, Toronto did very well. Washington had one job and didn't do it, and we're left with an okay jersey.
Well,
But-
it's Washington.
It's Washington, so okay is great.
No, Washington has knocked it out of the park with their outdoor jerseys. I own both of them. They're great-looking jerseys, and I was really let down by this one.
That's a winter classic. This is the Stadium Series.
Yeah, but they're outdoor, one-off, special event uniforms. You know, it doesn't take that much to have that designer and whoever came up with them and go, hey, make something futuristic that looks not ass. And apparently that guy didn't get the memo.
Okay, well, what about the Leafs there, TC?
I touched on this in my post today. I run towards white equipment with a pitchfork and torch, but they managed to pull it off. I like the all-white look. I think they could have done something a little more with the striping. I do like the nod to the military, but when the coolest part about your striping is completely unnoticeable unless you have a zoom on your camera, it's just not that great, and it's not of that fine of a design choice.
It's kind of like when Detroit did the years they won the Stanley Cup. And what was it? The Centennial Classic or the 100 Classic, where they also played Toronto.
Yeah.
So, but okay, Ben, what are your thoughts?
Really disappointing. On one hand, you have Washington that's coming out in practice jerseys and a cummerbund, and then on the other hand, you have Toronto, and they can't even play in them. They can barely see each other. So this is just a disaster of a game all around.
Okay. And finally, our friend Vipo.
I don't think the aesthetics of this game, at least jersey-wise, are great, but they're not awful. The Leafs definitely rank a little bit higher than the Caps. I would probably put them both around middle of the pack in terms of ranking all of the Stadium Series jerseys. The Caps are a little bit plain, but they have the potential to be pretty good. And they're not awful. They're still just very simple. In all honesty, they're not that much different than the Flyers jerseys from last year in a way. Just a few bold stripes. A few just single-color stripes. The Caps word mark is awful, though. The Leafs actually did pretty good with it, and I think this could, aside from their if you ignore their history, I think it could almost make a good primary set for them, ignoring the white gear, of course. And it would look better with blue gear, I think, but for a one-off, the white gear is fine.
Okay, good to hear. And I'd have to agree with Vipo on the Leafs, and I'm going to play bias here in thinking that honestly, out of all the outdoor games that Capitals have done, honestly, they actually have done two good Winter Classic jerseys. The Stadium Series is where they've hit a snag, so understandable. But one point I read that people were bringing up, and I'm kind of curious on your thoughts. The size of the stadium, I believe it's 39,000 compared to what they normally do, where it's almost at least twice that. So, do you think that having a smaller stadium and it being much closer than, say, being in NHL at Heinz Field or Soldiers, do you think that draws a different atmosphere in, or do you think that would make the game better to watch? What are your thoughts, Sean?
It's funny because the games that are outdoor that are played in Canada are played in arenas like this. They're played in smaller fields that sometimes can only fit 30,000 people. And those games tend to, from what I've heard from people who go to these games, they tend to be better because hockey is a very enclosed game. It's something that you pack a lot of people into a small arena, which is one of the reasons why I don't particularly love when they play in baseball stadiums, because you have parts of the field where you can't see things. This, I think, is actually a pretty good idea, despite the fact that, at the end of the day, it's all about TV ratings.
Exactly. And, I went to the Winter Classic in 2011, and the players looked like ants, and you couldn't actually see where the puck was on the ice, and I was in the upper decks. So, I completely understand what you're saying. But TC, what are your thoughts?
I like the idea of it being in a smaller stadium. I think it gives it a more intimate atmosphere, and kind of like what Jet said, it's a game that. True, it started outdoors, but it's evolved into a more enclosed sport. And I think, especially, I know a lot of people, even in, hockey arenas, it's kind of hard sometimes to follow the puck. So if you're sitting at the top of an NFL stadium trying to follow the puck, you're going to have no idea what the hell is going on. And I do like the idea, and it's the one time that I think that the NHL has put money at the forefront of it, because they could have had it at a larger stadium. They could have had it, if they wanted it in that area, they could have had it where the Redskins play, or they could have had it at M&T in Baltimore. I've personally sat 3 rows from the back in that stadium and had trouble watching a football game, so I can't imagine watching a hockey game.
Right. And And a lot of those people that are going to be watching it are actually midshipmen, because they've actually gave a ticket to all the midshipmen from what I've read. So, Ben, what are your thoughts on it?
I think for the people attending this isn't going to be a game so much as it is an entire experience. I don't think this is, something you do something in the morning and then, go to the game at night and then maybe, get dinner on the way back. I think this is a whole day experience. So maybe you can't follow the puck so well if you're in the upper deck, but yeah, I think it's just more to it than the game to really make this experience what it is.
Okay. And Beepo, finally your thoughts?
I have to agree with a lot of the other points. I think a small stadium would be better just for atmosphere and for visibility of the actual game, and that it's not just the game itself, too, that's the experience. It's everything. But in order to not just echo everybody else, here's another point. If you're able to sell out and pack a smaller stadium, then maybe a bigger one wouldn't be so bad. The league and the teams can rake in a little bit more money. Of course, I'm sure they'd love that. And you can have more fans who I'm sure would love to go to an experience like this get to do it. On the other hand, if you're going to have some empty seats in a smaller stadium, it's a very good thing you're not in a bigger one, because then it's just going to look even worse than it already would.
Exactly. Thanks so much, guys. Alright, and it is time we move on to Throwback Throwdown. This week's two jerseys, we go to the 74 and 75 season. So, we're doing the Stadium Series matchup. It's going to be the 74-75 Capitals red jersey versus the 74-75 Maple Leafs blue jersey. So, Ben, how about you start off?
My internet's acting weird. I'm trying to pull it up on NHL uniforms right now.
Okay, well, we'll go to Beepo then.
Can I pass? I'm doing the same thing.
Oh, Jesus. Yep, this is the Anarchy Post, people. And
fucking amateur hour in here.
And there it goes. So now we're going to have an explicit symbol on here.
I'll go.
All right,
we got to bring in the goal.
It's always me.
The Washington Capitals original red jersey is by far one of the most overrated jerseys in NHL history. It is nice, but my goodness, is it dated. It's incredibly patriotic, but it's also incredibly dated. White and red. Flash. In the 70s, up to the 90s. And I don't even know what to wear with them. The pants were just...
Shut, hold on. Okay, Kesey, you're overpowering him.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear him over the sound of freedom.
Oh, I can't hear you over my Monopoly money and Tim Hortons, but...
Hey, we got Timbits down here too, don't you know?
Yeah, they're called donut holes. But yeah, going back to the Capitals, I see it in the same way I see Pittsburgh's 80s and 90s jerseys. They were great in their era, but they're not something I look and go, we need that right now, because they've had better jerseys since.
TC, what do you think of our Washington Capitals, our American brethren's jerseys?
Wait, he didn't give an opinion yet?
Oh, because we're going to go then to the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're running this different.
Gosh darn love... Oh, my... You just made it explicit as well. I love it. I love the white yoke. I love the stars. My biggest problem with this jersey set is just I hate that logo. I've never liked it. I think it's stupid looking. It's just a word mark with a hockey stick. Neat.
At least they put a hockey stick in there, Ranger Boy.
Watch yourself. You don't attack an original Six Teams uniform. They are the untouchables. Yeah, you're wearing a Winnipeg Jets. Yet another one with a stupid hockey stick as a letter. At least the J makes sense as a hockey stick. T's don't look like hockey sticks. I love the stars. It's a great way to work in the American theme. I'm glad that they didn't try to shoehorn a more traditional striping pattern around the stars. And I think I've said all that I can at this juncture.
Okay. Beepo?
Well, if I'm being honest, I think these are probably the best, if not very close to the best jerseys the Capitals have ever worn. The color scheme looks great. The striping looks great. The stars look great. If not a tiny bit overboard, but still pretty nice looking, and definitely great for the time that these were used in. I was pretty happy whenever they brought these back as a throwback because I think they're miles better than what they currently wear. The only problem I have with it, again, is the logo. It's very, very dated and didn't look great even on the throwback alternates. It worked for the Winter Classic because that's kind of the point. But for a regular jersey, the logo isn't great. So if they were to bring these back, stick the Weagle on there. Or at least the new word mark. Just don't leave the old one on there.
Okay, and finally, Ben.
Yeah, I have to agree with what everyone else is saying. Just enough patriotic theme without being too tacky. And again, the logo, it really brings it down. Just changing the logo would bring this up so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and we move on to our second jersey, the 74-75 Maple Leafs blue jersey. Alright, who wants to start? Let's go with Sean again.
As the token Canadian here, these jerseys are incredibly dated, but they're dated in all the right ways. The overextended top of the maple leaf, the fact that there realistically are only 2 damn stripes on this jersey, the fact that the shoulder patches are just the primary logo without the script on them, the over-the-top 70s tie-down, these things are more outdated than an Intellivision, and my God, do I love them.
Oh, yeah. And I have to admit, I love them, too. My favorite jersey of all time was when the Toronto Marlies brought back this design as their alternate for a throwback. I loved it. So, TC, my American brethren.
Honestly, unpopular opinion, fan. I think it's probably the weakest design in the Maple Leafs history. It's something that I think was trying to be futuristic, but it just fell flat when you consider it's just an extended yoke with no striping and then a single stripe at the bottom. The laziness of the shoulder patch. Like, let's come up with something new. No, we don't have time. Let's just flip the colors of the primary logo. Well, that's just too close. All right, get rid of the words.
Can I ask something real quick?
Yeah.
You don't hate this design because it was transferred on to the Rangers, do you?
I sort of hate it that it laid the groundwork for it, yes.
Okay.
I very much do.
So a little bit of bias there, but overall.
But at least the Rangers threw in another stripe.
Oh.
That adds something. They threw in some piping around the extended yoke. This one, honestly, it doesn't work for me.
Okay. Ben.
I have to agree with TC. The simplicity, it's just not working for the Leafs. If you consider their history, they usually do something more ornate, more stripes. The logo's pretty dull, too, with just not enough going on there. I especially don't like the socks. Really just throws everything off in the set. It's really one of the weakest designs the Leafs have ever worn.
Okay, and finally, Beepo.
I'm more on Sean's side on this one, but I'm kind of in the middle. I really like the look of this. I really do. especially, as you mentioned, the Marlies alternate jersey. I was actually going to bring that up before you even mentioned it, and that's one of the things that make me think that it could really work, especially even just as an alternate for the Leafs. Of course, with Lou there now, that's never going to happen. But I love the way that Marlies jersey looks. I love the amount of color that it has for a white jersey and just the simplicity of it. Of course, it has a bit of a dated look because it's from 1970. And I do agree, too, that the mismatching socks aren't the best. But I honestly wouldn't mind seeing this come back just with the newer logo on it.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much. So, out of all of this, Sean, your vote.
I will have to vote for Harold Ballard's terrible, convoluted, weird love child of a jersey, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
All right, that's one for the Leafs. TC, I think I know how you're going.
Team Freedom.
All right.
2 votes, Canada.
Back it up there, Buster.
All right, Ben.
I have to go with the Capitals on this one.
All right, Depot.
This is a tough one, but I'm going to have to go Capitals in this one just because it fits their brand better than it does the Leafs.
All right. And unfortunately, as much as I hate it, I'm going to have to go Capitals. This is purely American, and I love it. So, that was Throwback Throwdown, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and we're back. We are now playing Fake or Authentic. So,
Fake
or Authentic?
Or authentic. We got improvise today. We don't have the music. Until Ryan authentically edits it in.
First question here, since the one question already was answered prior. NHL hockey in Seattle will become wildly popular fast. Fake or authentic? Ben.
I'm going to say authentic because, while it does cost, however many $1 million to get into the league, it does come with the Stanley Cup. But Batman came out earlier this week and said that the same draft rules to Vegas would also apply to Seattle, so I see no reason why Seattle can't be very good, very fast. I think... Also, if you look earlier this week, they sold 10,000 tickets in a matter of 3 minutes. I think Seattle,
but still not much. That's still not much.
Yeah, it's really fast.
They sold 100,000 in the first hour.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Ben, you good?
Yep.
All right. Let's go with Depot.
I'm going to have to say authentic on this one, especially if they have the same draft rules as Vegas, as long as they pull it off successfully and can manage to have a successful first year, even second or third year, it's going to take off. And especially if you factor in how many tickets they sold, how quickly they did it, it looks like there's already a market for it. So I think this is going to work. I think it would work out really well if they expand there.
Okay. TC?
I think I'm going to have to go with authentic on this. I think, like it's been said, there's already huge fervor for it. I know that Seattle sports fans are spectacular. They love their teams, the Sounders and the Seahawks, and they've been starved for a winter sports team ever since the Supersonics left for Oklahoma. So I'm going to go with authentic. I think they have the fan base for it. I think there's a definite interest from the city. They've shown it in the renovating. And I think that they've proven that they can move tickets.
Okay, and Sean?
I'm going to make it a clean sweep. I'm going to say authentic. This is the NHL expansion team we've all been waiting for in the U.S. They've been waiting for a team now since 1917. It's time to give it to them. And the ticket sale numbers, aside from that, this is a team that only has 3 major North American League sports franchises and would have just an amazing geographical rivalry with Vancouver that is just, it's money there's your money right there, let alone playing anyone else. On top of that, couple that with the fact that the NBA has promised to return in Seattle, pairing a basketball and a hockey team in the same arena tends to work out well. Just ask Toronto.
All right.
Yeah, then ask Atlanta.
Then ask Vancouver.
Again.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I'd have to agree with you guys. I think that being the location and them not really having the NHL team since almost 100 years, I think they're just ripe for having a successful time. So, okay, question number 2. Sublimated goalie pad designs should be used more in the NHL. Ben.
I'll say authentic. Why not? I think it's another tool the designers can use to pull out of the bag. I think it's something that can use for more variety, diversity. I think it can look great if it's used right.
Okay. Beepo?
I'm going to say authentic too. I think it could definitely, like Ben said, open up a lot more opportunities for different designs and new looks rather than a lot of what you see out there is just plain white with a little bit of detailing. I think there's been a lot more colored pads recently, which I like, but a lot of what you see is just white with some detailing, and I think sublimated designs could look really cool. The only thing I'd be worried about is things going too
TC?
I'm a little conflicted on this one because part of me wants to say authentic because I do like...
on the fence.
I'm getting to it.
Hey, that's my job.
I'm getting to it.
Only Beepo can sit on the fence.
There's a part of me that says, no, just let me explain.
No.
And I
Right,
have
Sean, your turn. Let's go.
second. Part of me thinks it's a great thing that could be utilized properly, but also I don't know if anyone's going to be able to top Hanks. So I think it's a slippery slope. You can definitely do it well, but you can also do it terribly, but I'm going to go authentic on this one.
Sean, the Canadian.
I'm going to not make it a clean sweep and say fake for as it sits right now because simply put, these designs to me are lazy. All they do 90% of the time is slap the team's logo onto these pads, and it's boring. It was fine when we saw the Red Wings logo, the Jets logo. That was great. Hanks were very nice too.
Yeah, the sublimated MSG ceiling, that is a thing of beauty.
That's 10% of the really nice designs I'd love to see. But when I saw that Vegas set, I was like, no.
Yeah.
We've seen this. It's not 2013. This isn't fresh. This is just, it's templated crap as far as I'm concerned. And there are teams that are going to attempt to pull this off with irregular shape. Just imagine if the Thrashers tried to pull that off for a second. Just imagine how tacky and forced it would look.
That's the entire Thrashers' identity.
Yeah, and it worked. And it works for them.
That's not even their identity. That was the franchise. It was tacky and forced into Atlanta.
Okay, so we could spend an entire podcast just talking about the Atlanta Thrashers.
The Thrashers.
And we will.
We will.
That is coming, folks. We promise. That is coming this
The
summer.
day will come.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go with authentic on that one. Just because that I think that not only on the cost-effective side, but also to come up with new ways to test how to aid a goalie in working against the eyesight against players. So something like maybe a pattern could screw with a player's mind or something along those lines.
They won't know where the pads are.
Exactly. Just have like all the X patterns to make it look like they're part of the net. So, but, okay. And, finally, our last fake or authentic question is, I want all teams to have a third jersey. Ben.
Do you even have to ask this is fake? I think there's a handful of teams that really don't need one. Detroit, obviously, my team. Toronto, maybe like a jersey for St. Patrick's Day, but I wouldn't even consider that a third full-time Absolutely fake.
I was really hoping you would try and just say, sure, why the heck not? But no, I don't expect anything less from you, Ben.
Steve, quit that swearing, okay? This is a clean podcast.
Beefo?
You kiss your mother. No,
You're one click away from being hung up on.
not on the lips.
Okay, Beefo, what are your thoughts?
I say authentic on this one. While I do agree with Ben that there are definitely some teams that do not need a third jersey, I am one that absolutely loves just seeing new design and seeing a bunch of different jerseys. And even teams like Detroit, they could pull out something that would work for them that wouldn't be forced. They could pull out something like a Cougars throwback. I think that could work really well. And again, while they don't need it, I would love to see more designs. And the problem is that you're going to obviously see more bad designs with the good ones, but you can't win everything.
All right, TC?
Authentic. The designer in me loves the opportunity to explore with what a team is willing to do with its identity. It is something like Beepo said, you have to expect there's going to be some tire fires out there, but for every tire fire, there's going to be dozens of decent ones and then a handful of really spectacular looking ones. Like, look at the Minnesota Wild. I hated their red jersey, and then they came out with that spectacular green with the script and made up for it in spades, and it set the stage to where now they have a fantastic set, and I'm hoping that could be something that could work for teams with mediocre sets now. And it's been shown to happen in the past. You bring in a third, it's better than your primary set. You base the primary off the good-looking third.
All right. And Sean, finally you.
I'm going to say fake, but only for the sense that I want it to be a very nuanced thing. I want original six teams to wear constant throwbacks. I want to see 3-4 different throwbacks 2 or 3 nights a year instead of one alternate. I want teams that can do a well-designed alternate to do alternates. But if a team like Detroit wants to take their logo and center the wheel on it instead of centering the logo, if they want to do that a few nights a year, do it. Because honestly, that to me looks a lot better than Detroit coming out in in a blue jersey. I stopped myself there because of the Detroit black jersey I've been asking for since I was 8.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna have to go fake on this one because there's just some teams that you don't touch. I mean, the Stadium Series jersey was nice for Detroit, and I think like that Arch D would be pretty cool for an alternate jersey, but not some other teams. Just no, not like the Canadians, not like them. A few other teams, maybe the Bruins. I just can't see it, but.
Not Brian Gianta's team.
Okay, no, we're not getting into that tonight.
The All Gianta podcast.
I haven't had my fair share of alcohol yet to talk about Brian Gianta.
Following the All Atlanta Thrashers is the All Brian Gianta podcast, then the All Chair podcast.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was Faker Authentic. Okay, we're back, and we have a special game tonight because this is the Anarchy Podcast, and we do what we want, and there is no mailbag because we actually don't have access to it. So, this game is called Jets' Black Jersey of the Week. I don't know, we need some type of theme music here, but we'll add that in. Thank you. Alright, so basically how this is going to work is that we have a black jersey that Jets is going to defend why it is good, and I'm here going to say why it is bad, and then our 3 writers here are going to either decide to defend
2 writers and a friend of the show, thank
or
you.
defend me. So, Sean, it's the Edmonton Oil Kings black jersey.
May I ask you what color oil is?
It's a brownish hue.
Yeah, exactly. But what's the closest thing you can put in a hockey jersey? Black.
Brown.
Black.
Brown.
Black.
Brown.
Black as oil and tar and...
Right, and just like oil has hints of lime green in it.
That just looks cool. That is purely an aesthetic reason. No, I'm going to tell you why I like these. How many teams wear blue, white, and red as their color scheme? The answer is too many. And the thing is that I'm actually
He says as he's wearing a jersey that's blue, white, and red.
That's different. The Oil Kings have always looked like second-rate Regina Pats to me. Despite having one of the nicest logos in hockey, in my opinion. The fact that they don't add green, which is in their color scheme, mind you, to that jersey in some way, or even yellow would help with this. In some way, it just makes the jerseys look like they haven't changed since the 50s, which is fine for an alternate, but they're a boring set. What team wears neon green that's not in motocross? None.
For good reason.
No, for no good reason. It's
Seattle
a good...
Sounders is soccer?
That's soccer.
Seattle Seahawks.
They're not
their green jersey was horrible. Don't ever bring
a professional team, not a
I mean, they still have green on their jerseys.
Yeah, they have green on their primary jerseys.
Look, the point is...
Also, the fact that you were talking about how you love the Oil Kings logo and think it's one of the best in hockey to defend a jersey that logo to the curb.
No, because I think it's had its time. As an alternate, it works great. I like this new king because it's an actual king. It's the king of oil. He's the Oil King, and it's a good-looking logo. It helps them stand apart from the rest of the WHL, in my opinion. The shoulder patch, the EOK sort of crown-looking thing, I really like that. I like how it is a play on the Ducks template. It seems to do that well. It's very similar, in my opinion, to if you took the Chicago Wolves alternate, the 2015 All-Star jerseys, and the Anaheim Ducks and blended them together. I really think that this worked. On top of that, frankly, there aren't enough teams in Canadian junior hockey that wear black. In my honest opinion. And this adds to it.
I respect that.
Oh,
however, it's a literal clone of
That's fine.
what the Anaheim Ducks look. So
some clones
there's
look
no
good.
originality to it. It's lime green.
Yes.
Lime green.
Yes.
And I just don't... I've never seen a team successfully pull off lime green in hockey.
I'm looking at one.
No, this is not being pulled off successfully.
How is it? Here's my
if
question.
it was a trim color, if they used a gray, or if they used maybe a darker green, or something along those lines, then yes. But the only thing I can really agree with you on, to an extent, is the logo, because it looks like it has an oil drop in it, but then a king, and even then, the face looks like it's a woman half of the time. So it's like, what are they? Are they kings or are they queens?
Well, actually.
How dare you assume their gender?
Yeah. We're an inclusive podcast, HJC. Steve has now been removed for someone a little bit more tolerant and diverse.
Point being, not only that, but if you look with the numbers, they use LA's numbers.
That's fine.
It's
I don't think LA should have
contradiction.
the monopoly on that. I think that's a really good-looking font,
It's
and
a
I hate that.
contradiction. They're using two rival teams' combinations. That's a contra-freaking-diction.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine. As far as I'm concerned, if you're not in the same league, go for it. I mean,
I didn't realize the Edmonton Oil Kings were in the NHL playing against the LA Kings and the Anaheim Ducks.
yeah, like if you're like if you ask me, it's a creative use of two elements that go well together. It's not the sanctity of the LA Kings Anaheim Ducks rivalry. It's Ryan Kessler and Drew Doughty having a contest to see who can win for.
This jersey in no way surpasses what they currently use. I mean, granted, yes, their design of their jersey itself is outdated, but it's just the jersey. The logo they have is great.
It is.
I love that current.
I keep it as it's one of those things where I would keep the red jersey as an alternate, scrap the white, and wear the...
I just redo the red, white, and blue. And then I would probably change this over to a navy and a dark red.
It's done. It's in the words of George Harrison, it's been done.
Or I'd change that. I'd change that green to either dark blue, or I'd change it to red.
I don't know.
Some type of tie to their normal color scheme. Not make it look like they're a completely different team.
My problem with that is that, again, you're not distinguishing yourself from the hundreds of teams, literally hundreds of teams that feel the need to use this color, which is fine. It's a common color scheme. Look at baseball, for goodness sakes. There's a league that needs a little bit of color in it. But it's just in my mind, when I look at them, I see Jordan Eberle and the Regina Pats. I don't see Sam Steele and the Edmonton Oil Kings or whoever played for him. I can't get past that. And you're right. But if you look, it's like in the 80s with Boston and Pittsburgh.
Seriously.
They did look the same.
Mm-hmm.
And neither team wanted to distinguish themselves from it because Pittsburgh thought they had the right to athletic gold when Boston had it first. And Pittsburgh took their better-looking jerseys and changed them to look like Boston. This is the opposite, in my mind. This is Edmonton taking a step forward. Now, if Regina comes around and comes out with these things, then I'll agree with you.
Okay, so after me and Jesse have had that argument, Beepo, are you for Sean or are you for me when it comes to this jersey?
I kind of hate to say this. I'm kind of on the fence, but
What a shock.
naturally.
There's the fence.
But I kind of want to agree with Sean. I actually like this jersey, but I don't think it works for the Oil Kings. I actually really like the neon green, and I think that if it's going to work anywhere, it's going to be, again, with a color that it will stand out great against, like a dark color, like black. The logo is pretty great, and I don't like the templated jerseys from the Ducks just because I don't like copied and templated jerseys. The Kings numbers, I mean, they work fine for this jersey, but it is a decent jersey, just not for the Oil Kings. It does not fit the Oil Kings identity at all.
So is that for me or for him?
I'm going to say for him or for Sean, just to give an unpopular opinion.
Okay.
But in all reality, I'm pretty much smack dab in the middle.
Okay, I'll consider that. Ben?
I'm going to bring reality back to this conversation and agree with you, Steve. Yeah, these are just copies of the Ducks. And if you want to say that the Oil Kings' current jerseys don't work because they're not unique enough, that's fine. But if the answer is lime green, then no. No! It's really annoying against that black. Phantom Yoke looks terrible. I mean, the logo looks okay. I think the oil drop is a little too hidden, kind of hard to see. Almost never like text to shoulder patches. This is not an exception. Just all around awful jersey.
Okay. And TC, what about you?
I'm with you, Steve. I hate that they're just using the Ducks template. I hate the Phantom Yoke. I hate that yoke style. I mean, not that yoke style. I hate that collar style. Shoulder patch, not terrible, but not the best. And I like the logo, but I didn't like it until I realized that wobbly thing was an oil drop. Before that, I had no idea and thought it was a stupid logo. And it took me months to recognize that was an oil drop. So I think if it takes someone whose literal job is to analyze hockey jerseys that long, I don't really think that your average Joe Schmo on the street, my kid reads good so I got free tickets, is going to recognize it.
Which is interesting because fans seem to like it.
Well, fans are stupid.
Yeah.
No, I understand where Sean's coming from. It's a nice shake-up, but it's like a 180. It's not really an improvement, but it's not a downgrade. It's just a complete change.
Yeah, it's like when Pittsburgh got it.
But, ladies and gentlemen, got your Jets Black Jersey of the Week. So, unfortunately, He lost by 1 point. And the funny thing is, I am wearing a black jersey, so this just adds insult to injury. But
How about this? Let's turn this into a challenge for the readers. Send in a redesign of this jersey. Do your best to make the black and neon green look good.
Make a neon green jersey and be sure to put TC's name on the back of it.
Yep. Okay. So, guys, that was the HJC Podcast.
Anarchy!
Yes, the Anarchy Podcast. I'd like to thank our gentleman in here. Beepo, thanks for stopping by. I'm glad that I didn't have to kick you out.
I'm surprised you didn't.
Sean, thanks for being such a good sport.
I'd just like to say one thing before I go.
Oh, God.
Peace, my boy,
Bye, guys.
What? What? What on earth? Okay, Ben, thanks so much for stopping by.
Last thing, Vegas is going to win the cup. You heard it here first.
Ben, just take my heart and rip it out.
DC, you want to give it a go?
Always a pleasure to be involved in the podcast. And save me, Chaka Khan! Chaka Khan! Chaka Khan! Save me, Chaka Khan! Chaka Khan! Chaka Khan!
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, we also have the usual Concept of the Week voting, the season voting going on. You should see those numbers up soon. Also, don't forget, we have the HJC stickers. Go buy some. They're cheap in USD, too.
Please buy them meow.
Please buy them right now. And also, Jersey Casual, the thing that I've apparently been doing for the past how many months. That's going to be done on, I don't know, next week maybe. If you really want to know, bother me. So, okay, that's it. We're going to go untie Ryan and make sure he's feeling better. So, that's it. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye,
Good night, everybody.